welcome to Educate, Inform, and Challenge. My name is Teresa MacLennan, Executive Director of the Women and Children's Shelter of Barrie. We are so glad that you, our community, have joined us today for our show. As you know, the purpose of our talks is always about the lives and experiences of women. We talk about women who are experiencing gender-based violence, human trafficking. We also talk about incredible women leaders in our community, business, politics, women who are making a difference and really pushing the envelope in terms of issues that involve women. And so we're really glad that you've come along for our discussions. Before we begin, we do want to thank and acknowledge our Indigenous community. We thank you so much for allowing us to have these conversations on these traditional lands. And we want to be allies in the spirit of reconciliation. And so we thank you so much for allowing us to take part in these conversations and to try and make change happen. So I am really looking forward to my conversation today with Jacqueline Dixon, and she's going to talk to us about really great initiatives that she's got going on and just how we can become involved, things that we should really focus on as being important in moving women's lives forward. And so I'm just really excited in terms of where our conversation is going to go. So welcome, Jacqueline. It is so nice to see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited.
Great. So I know that you are an extremely busy woman, and I know that you wear multiple hats in all of the things that you do. Can you just share with, some of those hats with our community?
No problem. Thank you so much. And yes, but what woman doesn't wear multiple hats, right? We are the do it all can do group, and it's a great to be a woman in today's world because we're making so much progress and so much strides in various different areas. So where Jacqueline Dixon is concerned, I am a career speaker, professional speaker, and sales trainer. So, in the corporate world, I'm a senior executive in a multinational promotional advertising company and have been successfully leading that charge for close to 30 years now. My success as a corporate leader inspired me many years ago to want to share with other women and particularly women of color about my journey. And as a result of that, I started a private company called New Era Communications, where through my private company, I was teaching and training entrepreneurs, particularly startups, on how to build a platform for themselves, generate revenue, and potentially run a sustainable business. Because I could clearly see that there was a desire and a need, particularly with women, especially coming from ethnic backgrounds, and some of them were, kind of forced into entrepreneurship. They didn't necessarily choose to become an entrepreneur. They might have come here with their educational background intact, but they were not able to lead or follow through within their career goals in Canada because of lack of Canadian experience. So that creates this whole other market of entrepreneurs that need help and assistance in being able to be successful. So I've been doing that for a number of years. And then that led to, well, you know what? I'm charging for these services, and not everybody can pay for these type of services that are led by experts like myself. How can I reach more people and without it, being a burden to them? So I came up with the not-for-profit organization called Meet the Motivators. And Meet the Motivators is a not for profit. What we do there is we celebrate, we educate, inspire, and empower young girls and women into moving into positions of leadership, whether it is in their community or their careers. Reason being is because I consider community leadership as valuable as career leadership because most career leaders today, especially ones that look like myself, at some point were nurtured by a community leader. Somebody said to them, you've got something special about you. And we really want to see you live out your full potential. So those inspiring words ended up creating the environment for me to want to pursue education at the highest level and live out my highest potential.
Okay, so well, that's a long menu of the things that you're involved in for sure, and very
Mhm.
influential. And so there's a lot to unpack there. And I think I just want to mention that in our conversation today, I want to come from a place of learning from you. And so I'm really just open to that process of learning and education, right? And so because I also feel that there's going to be a lot of women who are watching our show, today and listening to you, who are seeing themselves in you and wanting to create a different path in their life, and they're not sure how to get there. And there might be some self-talk in their head that's saying you can't get there. And they may have also experienced discrimination and oppression outside of themselves that has held them back from getting there. And so I just really want today to kind of be an explosion of that and figuring out where we go from here. So I'm just really thankful that you're kind of guiding us on the path of this conversation. So I want to start at the very beginning about you. And
Mhm.
you have all these hats. You are this incredible motivational speaker, forward thinking individual. Is this where you envisioned yourself to be when you were your younger self?
Gracious, no. I mean, nobody really like hindsight is 2020, right? Because my vision for myself was to become a writer. I loved I loved fiction, right? And I loved storytelling, but I didn't look at it from the perspective of being the speaker. I looked at it from the perspective of being the writer, right? So I wanted to create meaningful stories and write meaningful books that could really sweep people away. And but my mother saw it completely different. And she said, "No, you're a speaker. You need." I'll never even forget the day she said, we were watching television and the news came on. My mother said, "That's where you need to be. You need to be on television." And I thought, my goodness gracious, I couldn't see it. But that's so. But it's amazing how she just willed herself on me. Uh, But yeah, that's where I thought I was going to go. But it seems now I can clearly see I'm a better speaker than I am a writer.
But if change this for me if I'm incorrect, but haven't you written some books before?
Yes, well, certainly I've written definitely I've written sales books, like handbooks, but and then I've written about my own personal story, a couple episodes of my own personal story because we all have multiple episodes in our lives, right? So I have collaborated and written some episodes about some episodes in my journey because um it's not a straight and narrow path that I led. Everything was quite well, we got to a place where it wasn't well. So I came up at a very traditional time for young girls and women in my era, where what we basically did was we went to school for the purpose of getting a career in an office somewhere doing accounting, and we kind of waited to get married, and that's how we lived our life, right? That was the goal. Find yourself a husband and get a nice little accounting job. And I did all of those things, not recognizing that I was missing the boat. But, some changes took place in my life, and I lost my dear mother, and that at a young age. And that really threw me off the trajectory, and my life kind of spiraled for almost 7 years before I was able to put it back together. again and decided to take a mess and turn it into a message. Because prior to her passing, I was, here I was I guess I was textbook in the sense that braces, a little dog, and a good, great education, and everybody thought I was going to be the next biggest thing, and then my life after losing my mom
Yeah.
really took a tragic turn for the worst.
Mhm.
Um, and
And I so appreciate you sharing that, right? And I think it is helpful for our listeners, right? Because not everybody's path, most of our paths are not the straight and narrow one. We take, and I say quite often, I have taken the long route, to the chair that I sit in today, right? And I'm proud of the long route and, the ups and the downs and the bumps and the bruises that came along the way. I'm curious and I want to come from a place of learning and education, right? Because I know that a big part of the work that you do is also mentoring women of color, into business and career, right? Would you say that that description about, kind of the typical roles for women and the BIPOC community would have been those traditional roles of like accounting and that sort of thing?
well, even not even so much. I was,
Mhm.
for me to get an accounting job, which I ended up getting, I was working accounts receivable for Chrysler, managing millions of dollars a day. No, even back then for women of color, it was more domestic, right? It was still they were still very much in the domestic factory type of you know, shipping, picker packers and things like that. They seem to be in that world a lot. And so for me to get into an accounting position like that, that seemed like that wasn't kind of an upper echelon type of position, but at that particular time in history. However, it was completely wrong, and uh, that job expired due to some things that took place where I ended up, I'll never forget the story. I tell my mentees all the time. I say, listen, I worked for Chrysler Corporation. I was managing millions of dollars a day. I went to college to learn computerized accounting. While in college, you have to take some precarious jobs sometimes, because of your studies and all of the rest. So the only jobs I could really get were sales jobs that would allow me to continue my education. And I used to really do really, really well in sales. I was making a lot of money doing this part-time sales while getting my education. I eventually got my education, find a full-time job in accounting, and I ended up making less money full-time than I was part-time going to college. I said, there's something very wrong with this, right? And a year after on the job, my boss calls me in for the review. I was so excited, thinking, yes, this is it now. Now I'm really going to live good life. And she says, you're going to get a raise because you did such a fabulous job. And she offered me 25 cents an
Oh,
hour. And I think I lost all feelings in my legs, my arms, everything just kind of went numb. And I don't know what point I came to and realized that no, no, this isn't going to work. Long story short, got into a little fender bender a couple weeks after that, ended up not out of work because of that. And during that transition period, I was offered an opportunity to run and manage a small business for a gentleman. And that was the change that I needed.
so we are going to take a very short break, and we just really encourage our community stay with us as we continue this great conversation. I know that this is going to be inspiring for all of us, so please stay tuned, and we will be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Welcome back to Educate, Inform, and Challenge. And we're having a great conversation with Jacqueline Dixon and talking about her life and how she got to be this, this wonderful place that she is in her life now and the incredible things that she's been doing. And then taking all of those pieces to mentor other young women and girls. And so I want to kind of head in that direction now, Jacqueline, because I know you're doing incredible work, right? And so let's talk about how you're taking all of your knowledge and all of your experience, and then just how you're kind of using that to mentor and empower other women.
Fabulous. Thank you for the question. So let's look at it from the perspective that I ended up in a non-traditional career role shortly after leaving Chrysler Corporation. And so we considered that in 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that was a non-traditional career role for a woman to take on. And the only reason I was offered the opportunity is because the owner of that company knew a manager that I used to work with as a salesperson. They said, "You've got to get this woman. She's dynamic. She knows how to get things done." So I was given an opportunity, which is what I always say to everybody in life. The only thing we should ask for is an opportunity, because it's with that you can make everything else happen. So using that opportunity, I was able to move this very small concept for a business into a 2-location, 60-person employees in just over a year and a half. And it was clear to me I was in the right place. So I'm a business person. I'm a builder, and I'm a sales manager and trainer. So I was able to successfully do that, and I've again continued to build on that platform over like a 30-year period. And that when you achieve that level of success, you have to do something with it, other than just, there's only, what are you going to do? You get the house, you get the car, you get the 2 cars and and the dog and the 2 kids, and then is that enough? No, it's not for Jacqueline. So I had to do something with this. And that's when New Era Communications came about, and New Era then gave birth to the not-for-profit organization called Meet the Motivators. And I love it. It's my passion project. It's what I do the vast majority of my time. Is I locate and find women and girls who want to level up themselves, who want to enhance, to professionally or personally develop themselves so that they can live a more active, productive life. Socioeconomics plays a huge role as to why a lot of women of color are in face hardship. Socioeconomic barriers is a real barrier to success. And if we can, through Meet the Motivators, create opportunities to break that socioeconomic barrier so that women can lead more productive lives, then I'm all about that. Coming from a sales background and a management background, the wonderful thing about me is when you manage and run sales organizations, there is parity there. So men and women are not paid differently. So it's whatever you earn, whatever you're able to achieve, that's what you're going to be able to make. So I was making more money than all of the men in all of the organizations that I've ever led. And that enabled me to provide a good lifestyle for myself and for my children. And I believe that is the single biggest factor to women's empowerment is economics. If we can give them create a situation for them where they can be empowered economically, women will change generations because economically empowered women can change generations. So through Meet the Motivators, I'm able to deliver a symposium once a year that has a two components, education being number one, and then a dinner and banquet being number two. The education day, which is day number one, we find partners with educational, accredited educational institutions, colleges, and universities that allow us to come on their campus and then deliver workshops, up to like 10 workshops. And I enlist expert facilitators to deliver these workshops on a plethora of topics. It could be mental health, entrepreneurship, um, skilled trades this year, non-traditional careers. So the women then come out and then they're able to attend these classes on campus and then they can become inspired to want to upskill and reskill themselves. And it's just a wonderful day of so much estrogen pumping through the air, high fives, fist bumps, tears, all of that is happening. And then on day two, we celebrate with a banquet at a banquet hall. We get all dolled up and we meet what we call the motivators. So the motivators are keynote speakers that I hand select who have accomplished, who have arrived somewhere where they have accomplished enough that they now can send back their message. They're throwing back the lifeline to the attendees and saying, here I am. If you can see me, you can believe me, you can be me. And then they are able to share their motivating message for the year.
Wow. What difference have you seen this program make in the lives of women? And maybe primarily, let's say, women of color, BIPOC community. How are you seeing the needle shift, maybe in terms of economic outcomes or opportunities? What changes are you seeing happen?
Huge. So we have a mentorship program where we call it moms. It's Meet Our Mentors. So if you want a mom, you would just, you would go through our catalog of mentors, look at their backgrounds and request a mentor relationship. Those mentor relationships have been just so pivotal to the success of a number of the attendees who come to Meet the Motivators, because it's through those mentorship relationships that they're able to acquire new positions, new employment opportunities. They're able to elevate their business or start a business as well. So we have delivered through this program a number of new entrepreneurs into the economy. So we have created businesses because women have come out and decided, I'm going to use this skill and this passion that I have for seamstress work or for marketing or for a whole plethora of different things. And I'm going to create a business model around it. And I'm going to get a mentor to help and support me. And I'm going to take the skills and the training provided. And I'm going to use Jacqueline Dixon's passion and knowledge. And I'm going to make this happen for myself. Right. So we've done that countless numbers of times. So that's probably the biggest thing that I'm thrilled about.
And is this local to like Ontario, Toronto? Like, what is the scope that we're talking about here?
Well, the scope isn't big enough, Teresa, because, we're newly not-for-profit in the sense that we're still in our infant stages since 2021. We grow every single year, and the focus has been in the more heavily dense metropolitan areas, of course, where you can get the attendance. So, Toronto is definitely an area, and Brampton again, and then again, because of the ethnic compositions of those areas. But my eyes are set solely on Simcoe York right now, because I know the influx of new immigrants that have come into the region over the last couple of years. We're seeing a more diverse group coming into the region, and Simcoe has such a beautiful history, rich history where Black and Indigenous peoples are concerned. So we have our eyes set uh, to arrive in Simcoe, York soon.
That's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to that. So, how can members of the community or anyone listening today become involved, and to what capacity?
Absolutely. So we're always constantly looking for volunteers, of course. We're always looking for board members, of course, that reflect the type of attendees that we have. And then, of course, we're looking for attendees and facilitators. So, we do offer a hybrid situation where if the workshops that we're currently running right now, if you're not able to attend in person, you can register and you can attend through a virtual registration. So what you want to do is you want to go to www.meetthemotivators.com and then go to the Resilient Woman tab. And when you go to the Resilient Woman tab, you'll see the option to register as a facilitator. Maybe you have skills that we would love for you to host a workshop for us. Maybe you want to be an attendee. Maybe you want to be both. Or maybe you want to be a mom, which is a mentor. So register to be one of our moms. And that's the first step that I would say.
And we will share that contact information at the bottom of the screen for anybody who's watching. And we just really want you to check out that website and see and think about how you can become involved. Jacqueline, I've appreciated this conversation so much, and I feel inspired and motivated by listening to you. And I know that so many folks are going to feel the same way. But I kind of want to give you the last words here, knowing that there are young women, women who watch our program who are just trying to figure out their career path, trying to erase some of the negative self-talk that can be in their heads that limits women from doing the things that they think they want to do. What words of advice, encouragement, direction would you give those women? What would you offer to them just based on all of your knowledge and your expertise?
Well, I just want to embrace all of them with this big virtual hug and just say to them, listen, do not limit yourself. There has never been a better time to be a woman than there is right now. We are making the inroads in every industry. We are getting acknowledged and recognized for our contributions in the business world, in the community. And now now statistics can confirm that the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs are females. Isn't that fantastic? So we are saying that we're ready for the challenge and we're not going to be intimidated and we're not going to fit into any boxes anymore. Also, I want you to think about non-traditional careers. Remember where I'm coming from. 35 years ago, when I took on managing a business and running a sales operation, that was a non-traditional career for a woman. Now it's no longer a non-traditional career. So think about things, maybe skilled trades. There's so many opportunities in the skilled trades to be making six-figure income in, a year and 2 years. There's just a plethora of opportunity out there, and I don't want you to limit yourself ever. And if ever in doubt, contact us and find yourself a mentor so that we can support you.
Amazing. Perfect place for us to put a pin in this conversation until the next time, which I'm really hopeful we will continue this conversation again. And so thank you so much, Jacqueline. And thank you to our community for just coming alongside our conversation today. We will see you here again next time on Educate, Inform, and Challenge. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye-bye.